Hey y'all, happy Sunday and welcome to this week's live Q&A session. This is the portion of the show where we allow YouTube to send out notifications that we're going live. If you're watching this live Q&A on replay, please scrub ahead until this graphic disappears and the actual show begins. If you're watching live and you have any comments or questions, please go ahead and put them in the live chat. But for now, grab a beverage, sit back, and relax while the countdown timer does its thing. Then we'll get started. Happy Sunday, everybody. Hope everybody is doing well. Before we get started, I just need to say that I mentioned it in the chat a minute ago. Sitting here without headphones on feels weird. Feels real weird. After so many years of sitting here with headset on, I can't hear the music for the 5 minute countdown. I feel like I'm not connected somehow. It's weird. Anyhow, this too shall pass. Welcome aboard. Thank you for spending part of your Sunday with me. Today, it started off going to be a live, just a regular open Q&A, but last evening was doing a video chat with some of my channel members, and the subject of the tool database came up. So I thought that would be a good topic to discuss today. And so we're going to get into the tool database, talk about a few things, some things that don't get talked about a lot, but also some things that need to be mentioned again. But before we get into any of that, I want to give a shout out and say thank you to my friend Steve over at harneilmedia.com. Steve runs a tidy little ship over there, and I just have to say that the service is incomparable. It really is. If you're even thinking about a website of your own, if you're even toying with that idea, do yourself a favor and head over to harneilmedia.com and shoot a message to Steve. Hit that contact us button. Shoot a message over to Steve and just tell him what you're looking for. He'll talk to you and he'll work with you. He'll treat you like a person, not a number. Okay? And that's one of the great things about Steve, is that he understands. He knows. He's there to help small business owners get going because he's a small business owner himself. So he gets it. He understands it. And when you're dealing with Harneil Media, you're always dealing with Steve, not some random person happen to be working in a call center that you're never going to talk to again. You will always be in contact with Steve. And that speaks volumes. And it eliminates the third person clutter. He's very, very competitively priced, and after a while you wonder how he does everything he does so inexpensively. So I mean, I've been singing his praises since the beginning, and I don't know what else I can say other than you owe it to yourself, even if you already have a website, you owe it to yourself to head over to harneilmedia.com and just talk to Steve, and he will set you up. All right? So you'll find a link to Harneil Media down in the description of this live stream and every live stream and every video on this channel. And that's because I've been with him that long and because he's that good. So thank you, Steve. I appreciate everything you do and everything you don't know you're going to do yet, but we'll talk about that later. So, yeah, it looks so different without Mark without headphones. Yes, it does. And I realize how badly I need a haircut every time I get ready to go. Let's see here. Basically, I had a discussion last night about the tool database in Vectric Software and how to enter a form tool in the software. And there are a couple of ways of doing it. Some manufacturers make things easy for you, and they've already created tool database files. Other manufacturers haven't gotten up to speed with that. They don't realize what people need or want, and you have to do it yourself. And I'm going to try to cover both of those today. We'll see how well I do in the time allotted. And if along the way, if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to put them in the chat and I'll get to them just as quickly as I can. If I'm going too fast, let me know. If I'm not going fast enough, let me know. You know me, I'll talk the ears off a fence post. So, let's get started by heading over into, I'm going to use VCarve Pro for this demonstration. And you can see I don't even have let me cancel this. I don't even have a project open. Just recently, and I don't remember if it was in version 11.5 or version 12, VCarve and Aspire both have expanded their menu up here. It used to be you had to have a file open here. You either had to create a new file or open an existing file or something out here before you could even get into the tool database. Now you don't have to have anything open. You can just start, in this case, VCarve Pro, go up to Tool Paths, and then go into Tool Database. And this is the basic default tool database window. This is what you'll see when you open it. And there's a few things up on top that need to be looked at when you are in the tool database. Over here, let's start from the left and we'll work our way to the right. We have a material. More often than not, when you first start the database, you're going to be in the last database you actually used for a specific material. In my case, it's hardwood. It opened with hardwood open because that was the last material I was working from in the last project I saved. But if we click on this arrow right here, we can see that there are other materials. Acrylic, which is provided by default by Vectric. Favorites, I added foam. Hardwood is there from Vectric. MDF, maple, and rotary hardwood are all materials I added. So one of the first things you need to do when you're working within the tool database, if you're going to calculate a tool path for a V-carving, you need to make sure that you're working in the right material. Because if we look at a 1/4 inch end mill in my hardwood, we can see the speeds and feeds down here. But if I go into, for instance, acrylic, I don't even have a 1/4 inch end mill entered on this material. So the first thing we need to do is make sure that we're working in the right material. Okay, let me go back to hardwood because that's easier to get into. The next thing we need to make sure of is that we're working with the proper tool database. Is it the one that's local to our machine? You may have another option if you happen to be on a network, or you happen to be working in an office or a building that has several tool databases available. Now, 99 times out of 100, you're going to see local up here, and that's what we want to work with. What that means is we're working with the tool database that is saved on this computer. That's what we want to work with. Next, over here, we have our choice of machines. Usually, you will, if you have only one machine, you'll have only one selection here. I have two. A lot of these tools have been imported over from my old Gatton CNC, which I no longer have. Now, my new machine is my Avid 4848 Pro. So that's my default machine. Using this exact same bit, if I look over at the Gatton CNC, the feeds and speeds are the same, but my pass depth changed because my Gatton CNC was not as rigid as my Avid is. So I have different settings for different machines. So if you go to calculate tool paths for whatever you want to do, you need to make sure you're in the proper material, in the proper database, and using the proper machine. Here we have two more icons. You may not have these icons here. This all depends on if you are logged in to your V&Co account and you have your name over here. That means your software is linked with your V&Co account and is synced with your V&Co account. This can come in very handy, especially if you have your software installed on more than one machine. So if I make any modifications to this tool database here, I can upload it onto the cloud linked in my V&Co account. Then when I go in the house and open the tool database, it'll let me know that my tool database in the house is out of date, and I can update it to reflect the changes I made out here. It just makes it easier to make sure all of your installations of the software, you're using the same tool database, and all of them have the same tools available. It also makes it easier to add tools because you only have to add it to one computer. Then upload it to the cloud, then download it and install it on your other computers. So that's the basic background of the tool database. Then we can get into the various tools. Now, where a lot of confusion comes in is when you go to add tools or add categories of tools like V-bits. I added roundover bits as a category. I added, where are they? I added tapered ball nose as a category, surfacing bits. And that was just an easy way for me to organize my tools. Thread milling I added. Some of these are default categories within the software. Some of them I added myself. For instance, I've never made any changes really to my metric tools. And you can see what we have here for categories: end mills, ball nose, V-bits, form tools, engraving, specialist, and drills. There is no tapered ball nose. There is no surfacing category. I've added all those categories. And the way you can do it is this row of icons down here. And I'm going to spend a lot of time talking about these icons down here. So we'll get into those in just a few minutes. As you noticed, when I went over to a new material, let's say acrylic, I don't have a 1/4-inch end mill under the acrylic category. And we can see the little icon over here is grayed out. It's not available to us. But if we look over here, we see this. I can copy the settings for this tool from my 4848 Pro default machine, which is the same machine here. But the category is favorites. I can click this menu and I can come down to hardwoods and copy those settings from that. Or I can use the favorites, whichever I want. If the settings are similar to foam, I can copy from the foam category. If the settings are going to be similar to hardwood, I can copy from the hardwood category. So all I need to do is make sure I'm selecting this tool, this machine that I'm going to be installing this on, and this material. So I'm going to go for hardwood. I'm going to click copy. And that's exactly what it did. It copied all of the settings I have for hardwood. Now I can make any changes I need to. If my cut depth is correct, I'll leave that alone. If my spindle RPM needs to be slowed down, and in my case it does, I'll probably run it at 12,000, No, not 16.2. I'll probably run it at 12,000. And I'm going to leave that feed rate and I'm going to test it. I'm going to leave that plunge rate and I'm going to test it. If I have an automatic tool changer, or if my post processor is set up for an automatic tool changer, I'm going to assign a tool number. For myself, I believe I have my 1/4" end mill set up as tool number 6. So there we go. All right. I think that's right. It may be tool number 4. I don't remember. I'll have to go back and look. But anyway, now the important part comes. None of this will be saved until I click apply. As soon as I clicked apply, that icon now changed to a solid gray rather than this ghosted out gray. So now I have this tool available in acrylic. Now I may come back and change these settings, and that's fine. If I make any changes, if for instance I need to change my spindle speed to 14,000 after I make a couple of cuts, then I have to click apply. Otherwise that change doesn't matter. It won't be saved. So you have to click apply. Okay. Mauricio is asking, is there a way to change the tool image that appears in the tool database? I don't know if you're talking about this image or if you're talking about this image, but the answer, as far as I know, is no. There's no way to change that. That is set by Vectric. That's in the code. Now, there may be a way to get into this in the background and change it, but I'm not aware of a way. Okay. So that's adding a tool that you have in another material to another material. You simply copy over those settings, make any adjustments, click apply, and there it is. That's good. Let me go back over here to hardwood. And so I'm in my hardwood material. Now, the question came about last night, and I kind of went over it quickly with the person asking the question, is how do you add a form tool? Because form tools are different. Let's go down here to the form tool category. So I'm over here in form tools. This is just showing the category. Let's say I have let's look at a core box bit. A core box bit is very similar to a ball nose bit in that it has a round tip. But a core box bit, let me see if I have one. Yes. Okay, I do have a core box bit, so let me make it all about me for a minute here. This is what is this? This is a 3/4 inch core box bit. It's similar to a ball nose in that the tip is round, but it's a much smaller bit. It's got a 1/4 inch shank and not a 3/4 inch shank. My spindle doesn't even have the capability of using something with a 3/4 inch shank. So a core box bit gives you the advantage of having that ball nose tip without having to have expensive tooling to be able to hold it and use it. It can be used for fluting. It can be used in the bottom of a tray or something like that. So this is a Freud 3/4 inch core box bit. And if you'd like, I can go ahead and put a link to it in a pinned comment after we're finished live here. So I've got the bit in hand, And I know what it is. I can see it. And in fact, Freud has done a great job by adding the measurements onto the little label on the back. So I can enter this in the tool database relatively easily. So let's go back over to vCarve. Now, entering a form tool. Oh, wow. Holy cow. JWR Tiger. Thank you very, very much for the $50 super chat. That is, holy cow, that's, thank you, sir, or ma'am. I don't mean to assume. Thank you very much. I truly appreciate it. And just finished your Vectric V12 series. Thank you. I'm not finished with that series. There'll be more videos to come. Okay? There will be more videos to come. But thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it. When it comes to entering a form tool, the way form tools are entered is completely different from any other bit. Because what the software needs to know is what is the shape of the bit. If I look at a bowl and tray bit, for instance, my 1 1/4 inch bowl and tray bit, this is what the tip of it looks like. I've got a radius on both corners, but a flat nose at the bottom. So it's completely different. Then I look at the keyhole bit. I had to kind of cheat the system. It looks like I had to cheat it and tell it it's an end mill. If I look at the OG bit, that's just crazy. How do you draw this into the software? And this is where some of the tool manufacturing companies have helped us out. They've made it easy for us. And I'm going to bring up an example here. And I'm going to go to SpeedTool, which is probably unexpected. A lot of folks know that IDC Woodcraft, for example, they have created a tool database for Vectric that has all of their bits in it. Then you just download and install that tool database, and it's very easy to operate from. Just select the tool from their database and drive on. Folks know that Amana has done the same thing. They know that Whiteside has done the same thing with their bits and their tools. SpeedTool is not talked about a whole heck of a lot, but a lot of people buy their bits because they're inexpensive. You can get them on Amazon. If you have Prime, you got free delivery and all the advantage of that. So let's take a look at what SpeedTool has to offer here. Let's look at the product type. We're within router bits, so we know that. But now I want to select something that is a roundover bits. Let's look at roundover bits. And we have a point cutting roundover bit that's good for CNC. Okay, we'll try there. $21.99, not bad. Okay, this is a 1/2 inch cutting diameter with a 1/4 inch radius. So let's check it out. Now, they say here it's good for hand router, router tables, CNC router. Good deal. So far, so good. 1/4 inch shank, 2 inch overall length. Looks like it might be a bargain. If you want, I'll put a link to this also in the down in the a pinned comment as soon as we're finished with this live stream. Welcome to the group there, David. We'll talk about this a little bit more later on. Hope you can stick with us until the end. Thank you for becoming a channel member. Welcome aboard. Glad you can join us. Rich Bratcher is asking, is that a true point? I don't know. I don't own this bit. I can't speak to that. I can only go by the illustrations. So I don't know if this is a true point or if there's a little bit of flat spot there. I really don't know. The area of interest that I'm looking at, number one, we got a good drawing here. But if we go over here, we see download the tools database. Click on that, and we got to look at the product type. Spiral router bits, no. 2D, 3D tapered router bit, no. V-groove, no, 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 no. Come down here and we see, aha, there's a Vectric tool file. Fusion 360, Vectric, and Carveco and Carbide 3D tool files. This is the tool database that we're looking for. So I'm going to get the Vectric tool file. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to download it. Now, that brings up another question. Where am I going to download this to? I'm going to download it to the tool database folder that all of these tools are entered into. But I'm going to cheat, and I'll show you that cheat. Click Cancel to get out of my tool database. If I go up here, and again, I'm in Vectric 12.505. If I go up here to File, then come down to Open Application Data folder, click on that, it's going to open up all the program data for this version of VCarve, the current version I'm using. And you can see through my address bar up here where this is located. It's on my C drive. The folder is Program Data. The next subfolder is Vectric. The next subfolder is VCarve Pro. Then the next subfolder is 12.5. That's the version that I'm using. And if I look down here, there's a folder that says Tool Database. If I go into that folder, there are all of my tools. This right here, this database, tools.vtdb.vectric, that is the default tool database that comes with your software. None of the tools you have added are in this database. If you absolutely, completely, and totally, entirely mess up your tool database, you can always go back to this one and it will give you a clean install of the database that you had when you first started. Now that could be a good thing. It could also be a major mistake, because if you have added 20 tools and you have just messed up one tool, going back to this, you will lose all those other tools that you have successfully added. So know it's there, but know it's also potentially a problem. This right here, tools.vtdb, and that stands for Vectric Tool Database. This is the one you're working off of. This is this tool database that you're working from. We also have laser tools. I don't know what MPPA stands for. I really don't. There's another one there. I don't know what it means. This here, VTDB upload, this is the tool database I last uploaded online to the cloud. You can see I did that on the 2nd of November of this year. I uploaded it to the cloud. This is giving me a copy of that database should I need to revert to it. Should I need to go back. I'm not going to get into that today. So, go back over to SPTool, and where am I going to download that SPTool database to? Now this is version 12.5, but I need to be careful because I don't know what all is in this. It could be every single thing they make. That can be dangerous because if you download and install this tool database and the IDC tool database and the Amana tool database and the Whiteside tool database, you see where I'm going with this. That's a lot of tools to access. So when I come into vCarve and I go to load my tool database, it can take up to a minute, maybe 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes for it to load all of those tools and bring it up so that you can work in the tool database every time you access the tool database. So if you are doing a vCarve toolpath and you need a VBit, it's going to take a while for that database to load so you can select that VBit. Then you want to use a clearance tool, a 1/8 inch end mill. You got to load the tool database again to select that clearance tool. You see where I'm going with this? It can really crowd up your tool database with tools you don't have. So this is where an older version of the software comes in real handy. Comes in real handy. So what I'm going to do is go back to this folder. And again, this is for version 12.5. I'm going to go back up. I'm back in version 12.5. I've come out of the tool database folder. But now I'm going to go up one more level. And I can see I have 2 versions installed on this computer. I'm going to go into version 12.0, which I don't use anymore. And I'm going to go into that tool database. This is where I'm going to download that big tool database from SpeedTool. I'm going to put it right here. So let me go back over to SpeedTool. Then I'll click Download. Here is my download. I'm going to navigate to Windows, then Program Data, then down to Vectric, down to vCarve Pro 12.0, Tool Database, and here it is. And I'm going to save it. And it's downloaded. Okay, fine. So now I can go to the version 12.0 tool database, and there it is. Now I want to open up version 12.0. So I'll go over here, Aspire version 12.0, and I'm going to open it. No, that's wrong. Click off. I want vCarve version 12.0. Wake up. Wake up. And there it is. vCarve Pro 12.0. And of course it opened up in this window, so I'll drag it over here. And there we go. Now I can go into the tool database. Now I want to import that SpeedTool tool database. The way I do it is I come down to this icon right here. Nope, that's the wrong one. Import a tool database. That's the one here, right next to the save, or export rather. I want to go to the folder. Import a tool database. Now I want to go back to that same folder. So I'll go Windows, Program Data, Vectric, vCarve Pro, 12.0, Tool Database. I know this is a lot of stuff to wade through. There's that tool database. Open. How would you like to import the tools? Import will read the tools under the selective group. Merge will merge the incoming groups with the current. If overriding, the cutting data for matching tools will be overwritten. So if this tool database has a 1/4 inch end mill and I say merge with overriding, it's going to overwrite my 1/4 inch end mill with their settings. Well, now I don't want to do that. So I want to import. And I don't see anything. What happened? Well, I'm going to come down here. There is the speed tool database. Now, here's what I'm talking about. This is why I download this into an old version that I no longer use. It's way more than I need to put in here because I don't own all these bits. But we were looking at this particular bit up here, now that I have the whole database. We were looking at this bit right here. And that's the one we bought. So now let's go back over here. And I'm going to look at my bit, and I'm going to make sure this is the right part number. So it's the W09011. Okay, not too bad. I'll come down here to VCarve 12.0. I'm going to go into the speed tool database. There's roundover bits right there. Point roundover bits right there. And here is the 1/4 inch shank category. And there is that tool. W09001. There is everything I need. But it's in version 12.0. So what I want to do is I want to export this tool only. This is the only tool I own, so I want to export this tool so I can import it into version 12.5. With that bit selected, I can come right here, export the selected tool or group. So I'll click export. Now where do I want to export it to? I want to export it to the version 12.5 database. So I'll go into 12.5, tool database, and I'm going to call it, let me do a cheat here. I can come back and change this. Speed tool. There, I'll just copy that. Speed tool, carbide tipped roundover 1/4 inch radius. Right click, copy. Go back. Oops. Yes, go back into 12.0. I'm going to put it right, paste right there. I can change this later on. I can change this name, but this identifies which tool I'm putting in the database. And I'll click save. The file name is not valid. I know why the file name is not valid. Very simple. I've got quote, meaning inches here, and I've got a diagonal of front slash. So I'm going to change that 1/4 inch to 0.25. That should be valid. Save, and there it is. Now, without closing anything, if I come over here to VCarve Pro 12.5 tool database, there it is. That's my 1/4 inch radius tool database, tool file. Now, come back to version 12.5, and I know this is confusing. Keep up with me here. Okay. I can come over here down to the roundover category, select it. Then from here, I want to import Nope, this is the right one. Imported tool database. And I need to go to, no, it's not on the desktop. It's Windows. I know this is a long way to go to get there. but can't be helped. Program data, Vectric, other finger, and I'm going to drag it into the roundover category. So now in my roundover category, there it is. So now this tool is imported into my current version. But this tool only. It's not the entire SPI tool database. So now I can go up here and I can change the name should I want to. I think I do. I think I want to change that name. But I'm also going to remember what this is. So I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to cancel that. Yeah, no, the name of this thing is 1.5 miles long. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and click right here. I'm going to right click what's highlighted and I'm going to copy that. Then I'm going to call this, I'm going to name it roundover 0.25 inch radius, 0.5 inch diameter. I'm not checking any of this. Okay, now that's changed the name of the bit. But now I can right click in here, I can paste, and there I have listed the tool brand, the model, or part number rather, and the entire description. Okay, it's now available right here. Okay, in fact, I see something now I need to change just for continuity's sake. Needs to be point cutting. Okay, let me go back and I'll change this to point cutting. Okay. Now none of this has changed or has been saved. Also, it's not a V-bit. So we're going to come here and we're going to see what type of bit it is. Radius, taper ball, no. Diamond drag, no. It is a form tool. Uh-oh, it won't let me do that. Oh no. What do I have the other ones saved as? Well, I'm going to find out. Again, none of this has been saved until I click this button right here. Apply. Copy settings from, no, I'm not copying any settings. This is making no sense. Why is it asking me to copy settings when I'm using the SPI tool? Because I have a similar tool already. I already have this. I already have a similar tool. I should have looked into this. Generally speaking, usually, well, let me here we go. Let me go into acrylic. Boom. Nope. Nope. Well, you know, I would pick a tool that I already have one similar to. Yeah, I'll go back to hardwood. If I'm using this, if I click apply and you don't have the same problem I'm having right now, it'll just accept it. Now, because I have a bit already entered that has virtually the same geometry, versus the same cutting diameter, the same radius, when I click apply, oh, okay, it took it that time. I wonder, That's what it should do. So now you have that bit available to you. See, I already had another bit that was the same. It's still entered as a V bit, however. Why is that? Why isn't it entering as a form tool? Because I'm not entering a form tool the correct way. Now, this will work. If you don't care that it says V bit up here, you could have it say end mill. It doesn't matter. Nothing will change until you hit that apply button. Okay. Now, I missed a couple of questions up here, and I apologize for that. Let's see here. Can you not just copy the file to a different location and then save your custom tool database file to the proper location? For those of us who only have one copy of Vectric. You can do that. Pete, the problem comes when the problem comes with separating out that one tool from the manufacturer's entire tool database. That becomes difficult to do. Up here, you do have, and this is getting way, way, way advanced. You do have a selection up here that allows you to access a remote tool database. You'll have to create one and then add that database. But as you can see, it's looking for an URL. It's looking for a web location. So I've never done it, but conceivably what you could do is put it in, say, a Google Drive, or I don't know if Dropbox will allow it, will allow this to access it. And I don't know about OneDrive. There are ways you can add a tool database, but you need a web address. That's what's meant by a remote database. Or, call back, you could talk to my friend Steve over at Harneal Media. If you've got a website through him, he can hook you up with a web page where you can install that tool database. Doesn't have to be visible on your website. It can be a private page that just isn't visible. And then you can download it from there, or access it from there. And if you don't have a website through Harneal Media, this could be a time to get one. Just putting it out there. So basically what I've done is I've taken that one SPI tool roundover bit, I've added it to my current version of VCarve Pro that I use, and I didn't download this entire catalog and clog up my tool database with a bunch of tools that I don't own. Now, this may not seem like much, but when you add this database to the IDC database, to the Amana tool database, to the Whiteside tool database, you see where I'm going with this. It can get pretty intense. So, you just saved me from downloading way more than necessary. I will have to watch and pause again later. Ellen, that's why I'm going slow, is to give people a chance to pause, come back. So, let's see here. Mauricio says, while searching through the Aspire folders, I found the image of the tool that appears in the trajectory simulation. Wouldn't it be the same for changing it in the database? I mean, it might. You can give it a try, Mauricio, because you're way, way outside of the scope of what I'm teaching and way, way, way more advanced. So, you know, it's all I can say is try it, but be careful. And don't delete anything. Don't delete anything, because you may have to go back. And yeah. Let's see here. Okay, so it looks like YouTube was buffering here. You know what? That's nice to see that it's not just me. Um, earlier I was having problems while watching another video. Um, JR is wondering, can I make my own custom tool type name, i.e. custom drill bit, 1/4 inch number, GBS 1234? You certainly can. You can name it anything you want to. You can name one of them Grace and the other one Arnold if you want. You can name it anything you want to. It's 100% different. Can use a file, uh, colon // Earl to treat local file as online. Yes, you can. Um, Again, that's getting a little bit out of the scope of this discussion, but yes, you certainly can. And that's where this trail comes in, because basically what that Earl would be in this case, it would be C : / program data / Vectric / vCarve Pro / version 12.0 / tool database, and then the file / that file. But again, that's way outside of the scope of this. I didn't want to confuse everybody, but you are 100% right. And that would be your custom tool database. So that you could have, I guess, so you could have this entire tool database there. So, and you could be able to switch back and forth from your local to the custom. So, let's see here. Can I create my own data sheet in Excel, which gives me a faster way of inputting it than the slow as molasses way in Vectric? I'm trying to think of how you would import the data from an Excel spreadsheet. I think about the only way you could do it would be just as a repository to copy and paste. I don't know of a way to copy, say, for instance, all of these settings from an Excel spreadsheet into the database. You're kind of limited. You can, you can add a tool, you can add a group, you can copy a tool or group, you can import a tool database, you can export a selected tool or group, or you can do what I'm going to do right now, because I don't actually own this tool. All right, I'm going to go back up here. And, oh, I'm in the wrong version of vCarve. Let me go over to here, to this tool database. I don't actually own this tool. I just installed it as an example. I have these other tools, but I don't have this tool. I don't own it. So I'm going to delete it. All I do is select that tool. I want to delete this tool because I don't own it. Remove the selected tool or group. And I'm going to click on that. Removing one tool will remove all the cutting data defined for it. Are you sure you wish to delete it? Yes. Boom. It's gone. I come back into Roundover and it's no longer there. So, for instance, if this keyhole bit right here, if I buy a different keyhole bit and the settings are different, maybe it's a different diameter, or maybe a different brand, and I no longer own this bit, I can just select it, click on that garbage can, and it goes away. Same thing with all these V-bits. Sad part is I do own all these V-bits. It's easy to go crazy. So that was a long trail, and that was a long way to go to get some basic things kind of figured out. Now, what if you get a tool and they don't have the tool database file for you? You've got to draw it in yourself. Well, let's look at my core box bit as an example. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to cancel. I'm going to get out of my tool database. For this, I do need my a project out here, because what I have to do is I have to draw the geometry of that tool in here. So for a core box bit, it's really easy. I'm just going to accept whatever it is here. Now I'm looking at that diagram I showed you on the back of the label of my Freud round nose bit, that core box bit. And it's a 3/4 inch diameter. So first thing I'm going to do is come up here, and at X0, Y0, I want a circle with the 3/4 inch diameter, 0.75. Whoops, back up, didn't hit the 7 hard enough. 0.75 diameter, created. Okay, so there is my circle. All right, close. Now, when you're entering a form tool, you have to take into account it needs an open vector that represents the right side of that tool's shape. So I've got the vector selected. I'm going to tap the letter N on my keyboard and go into node editing. So for this tool, I need this right here, the right side of the tool's shape. So I'm going to put my cursor right here, right click, cut vector, and I'm going to see the keyboard shortcut is C. I want to cut the vector right there. I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to use that keyboard shortcut. Put my cursor right over that point, tap the letter C. Okay, now I can right-click twice to get out of node editing. Select this, and delete it. That's all I need. Now I can add this tool to my tool database. So we'll come up here to Tool Paths, Tool Database, and I want to add a new tool. I need to come down here to, let me see, I've already got it in core box bit. It's right here. That's the bit that I'm entering. So I'm going to put it under ball nose bits, and I'll delete it again later on. But it needs to be a form tool. So I have to put it in here. I'll just call it something else. So under form tools, I'm going to say add a tool under that selected group. It is a form tool. Now you notice what it did. I'm going to cancel real quick. Here is that vector. Select it. Go to Tool Paths, Tool Database, go down to Form Tools. And this is the only group where the software will do this. Add a tool under that selected tool. Tell it it's a form tool. And it took that selected vector and created both sides of that tool's profile. Okay? Now, it already knows the diameter is 0.75 inches. Now I just need to enter the number of flutes. Well, this has 2 cutting flutes, so 2 flutes. And now, because there are no settings to copy, now I'm going to create those settings. Okay? 2 flutes. Got a pass depth. I'm going to try that. That's, what is that, 3/16? I'm going to try that and see how that works. And a step over of 20%. I'm going to try that and see how it works. However, I do know that the spindle speed, for this I'm going to put it at 16,000. And my feed units are right here. For the feed rate, I'm going to go with 100 inches per minute, and I'm going to do a plunge rate of half of that. And I'm going to give it a tool number. I'm trying to remember my naming convention. I don't remember what, because I put every bit in a different category and I'm using different digits. For instance, all of my end mills are single digits starting with 1. All of my V bits are 2 digits starting with 30. So I'm going to give this a tool number of 6. Just for giggles. I have to put something in here to differentiate it from this core box bit that I already have. It can't be the same settings. It's got to be different. Okay. And here I'm going to type in Freud, because this is what it is. Freud 18-112 3/4 core box bit. Okay. Form tool, the unit is inches, the diameter is 3/4 inch. I did not enter that. It figured it out by using the geometry. Number of flutes, I have my pass depth, my step over, spindle speed, feed units, and chip load, feed rate, plunge rate, and tool number. Now I can click apply. And there it is. Form tool 3/4 inch. I have another one here. That's the one that I tried to do earlier. And I hit cancel. I need to delete that. So we're going to delete that. Boom. Boom. And it's gone. Now here is this one. This is the one I just entered. So I can come up here and go and I want to change this. I don't want this to be used as a default for the name of my bits up here. I'm going to say core box Freud 0.75 inch diameter. Looks good to me. Click OK, and now there it is right there. Apply, and everything is set. Click OK, and it was all based on that. Back up here to Toolpaths, Tool Database. Because I already have this tool entered in my tool database, it's this one right here. I don't need this one I just created. So again, I can just get rid of it. Delete the cutting data for that tool. Yes. Now it's gone. Again, I already have it right here. So, let's see here. If I've got anything here. Where am I backing it up to? Here and there. I will add tools tomorrow. I don't want to cry today. Okay. Again, Ellen. Okay, wait a minute here. I am not techie. I don't know what I'm doing. Thank you, Mark. I will watch, pause, and pray. No prayers needed, Ellen. Just watch, pause, and again, do all of this in a previous version of the software. In a previous version in a software. That way you're not messing up the tool database that you're actually using. Okay? Practice, practice, practice. And remember, if you screw it up entirely, you can select it, delete it, and start over. Just drive on. The tool database has a lot of things to it. It has, for instance, VBits. You get into VBits, it knows what a VBit is. It knows the units. It knows the shape. What you have to tell it is the angle, and that's the complete angle. You have to tell it what that angle is. It's, in my case, it's 60 degrees in this bit's case. In this bit's case, it's 3/8 of an inch and 90 degree VBit. So it knows what a VBit is. It just needs to know the angle. Then it can calculate everything else. Probably the easiest one is the end mill. But let's say, for instance, I have, see, I've got a 16th inch end mill. I've got an 1/8 inch end mill. I don't have a 3/16 inch end mill. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, I just bought one. How do I enter a 3/16 inch end mill? Well, the easiest way to do that is to select a bit that you do have. In this case, 1/8 of an inch. I have an 1/8 inch end mill. Then come right down here and, where is it? Copy the selected tool. Select the tool. And copy that tool. Boom. Now I have two 1/8 inch end mills listed here. I'm going to copy the settings from this same tool, the same machine, and the same material. I'm going to copy that. Now I'm going to make the changes. First things first, the diameter is 3/16. It's not 1/8 of an inch. Now, I don't remember the decimal equivalent of 3/16 of an inch, so I go 3/16 equals, and it enters that for me. I don't have to know it. I use the built-in calculator. Again, I enter the fraction, then I hit equals, and it does the math. It changes the name. I just have to make sure all these settings down here are correct. I can go through now, and is it a 2 flute? If it is, leave it alone. If it's not, I can change the number of flutes. I can change my pass depth if I need to. I can change the step over if I need to. Spindle speed, feed rate, plunge rate, all of that. I can go through and change all that. Then click apply. And now that has changed that copy of the 1/8 inch end mill to a 3/16 inch end mill. That's the easiest way to add a bit. Copy one that is similar to it, and then change your settings. That's the easiest way there is to add a bit. And it works the same way in end mills as it does with ball nose, with V-bits, roundover bits. I mean, all of this stuff, once you get something entered, it all becomes the same. It really is that simple. Okay, now Pete says, did I miss how you would do all of this without a previous version? No, you didn't miss it because I didn't talk about it. The way you would do all of this with a previous version, sorry to say, but it kind of dovetails in with another question that we had up here. Robert Terry, can't you download the database to 12.5, copy the tool you want, then delete that downloaded database? You certainly can. And Pete, that's the way I would do it. You could download that database to version 12.5 and install it. Then you don't even have to copy the tool. Let me show you, Robert. Let me go back over here to 12.0 because that's where I downloaded this here. We're looking at this tool, the Speed Tool 1/4 inch roundover. Can download this to the to my tool database, the entire Speed Tool catalog. Then I can click and drag and just keep dragging till I get up here to my roundover bits, which I don't have in this tool database. I have my roundover bits here in the form tools, and just drop it. So now I've dragged and I've dropped that tool, because that's the only one, supposedly, that I bought from Speed Tool. Now I can select that master database and I can delete it. 489 tools. Okay? Yes, delete it. Now that Speed Tool database is gone, but I come up here, I still have that roundover bit. So that's how I would go about that, Pete, if I didn't have another version. My reason for keeping the whole database in a previous version of the software is just for my convenience, because right now this is the only Speed Tool, but I might buy something else. And then I can just go back to that database in the previous version, export the tool file, then import it into the current version. And both of them have pros and cons. Something that this does, doing it this way does, just dragging the tool that I have and then deleting the tool database, is it forces you, every time you want to add a tool, to go download the most current tool database that manufacturer has. I'll give you an example. I have on another computer that I don't use anymore, I have the entire Amana tool database, but that tool database is about 7 years old, 6 years old, something like that. They've added a whole heck of a lot of tools. And my old tool database is not kept up. So yeah, it's doing it this way, where you just drag and drop the one tool that you've got and then delete the rest of that database. That forces you to get the most recent tool. Because there have been a few times I've gone to that Amana tool database and the tool just wasn't there because they didn't have it in that database. So then I have to go, delete that database and then download the newest one. But it's, so there are pros and cons to both ways. Now, again, even here in my old version, I have a tool that I know that I don't actually own. So I'm going to get rid of it. Delete. Delete. And now I have made a ton of changes. Let me cancel this and get out of 12.0. I have made a ton of changes to this database. Now I got to ask myself, do I want to upload this to the cloud so I don't lose these changes? To be honest, all I've done is I have added tools and deleted them. So the net was I haven't made any changes at all, except this right here. I don't actually own a 3/16 end mill. I was just showing how you would add one. So delete, delete. Now at the end of the day, this tool database is exactly the same as it was when I first started this adventure. I have not added a tool. I've not changed a tool. So my attitude is no, I don't want to upload this to the cloud because it hasn't changed. Okay. Let's see. Barry Lane says, when you change a tool, it always tells you what number to change to. Wasn't there a way to make it so the description of the tool is asked for? I'm not sure I understand. When you change tools, it always tells you what number to change to. Oh, are you talking about with like in your G code, when you're running the file, it'll tell you, okay, change to tool 3. Wasn't there a way to make it so the description of the tool is asked for? I'm going to say that's probably within your post processor. That's not, I'm going to say I think that was within your post processor, but I would check. And another, just make a copy of that post processor and play with the copy. Don't play with the original. Don't screw up your original. Make a copy. In fact, I think when you go to edit a post processor, it's going to force you to make a copy, but I could be wrong. So, all right. Let's see here. Ellen says, I have over 30 different bits. I remember when I was new too. Used almost all of them. Every time I turn around, I need a new tool. Welcome to CNC. Welcome to CNC. The one thing, that that a lot of people don't know and don't realize is all of these bits, every single one of them, and it doesn't matter if it's a $20 end mill, or in the case of that roundover bit we were looking at, a $21 roundover bit, or if it's my surfacing bit, which was $160, all of these bits are consumable. They are going to get dull. They're going to get damaged. They're going to start making ratty cuts, and they're going to get thrown into a coffee can and forgotten. Unless you're a guy like me that fills up that coffee can and takes it to a scrapyard and sells the carbide to the scrapyard. They're consumables. You are going to have to buy new end mills. You are going to have to buy new V-bits. You are going to have to buy new tapered ball nose bits. It's just a fact. It is just a fact. Holy cow, how long does a $160 bit last? Well, conceivably, first of all, Mr. Sam Spade, thank you so very much. Totally unnecessary, but I greatly, greatly appreciate it. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate it. Sam Spade is a channel member. That's why I say that's 100% unnecessary. But I do appreciate it. Back to your point, Jack. How long does a $160 bit last? In the case of this surfacing bit, conceivably forever. Because I don't know why I'm still screen sharing. Let me go back, make it all about me. In the case of this bit, let me grab it. The cutters are carbide inserts. So conceivably, I can replace these inserts as they get dull or damaged. I have rotated them one time. And with 4 corners, or four cutting edges rather, conceivably it'll last forever, just however many times I need to add add new cutters or add new carbide inserts. But I'm here to tell you this sucker is nice. Oh, it's nice. I think the price has gone up. I paid 160 for it. I think they're like 180 now. Holy no, I don't know. Ellen says, "Holy big bit." Well, it's 2-inch diameter. I've seen bigger ones. I've seen bigger ones. In fact, a couple of people here use 2.5-inch diameter surfacing bits. This one's only 2-inch. But I bought that bit on a recommendation from Shane Peters and Rob Sandstrom, who were using it at the time for surfacing epoxy inlays. And they both said that that was the best bit they had ever used. So I bought one, and I'm impressed with it. I really am. I've not found a need to change to a different bit. Rich Bratcher says, one steel screw will test that bit. Yep, that's why they replaceable carbide cutters. So, yep, but you're absolutely right. Here's Maurice says that's a great way to test your tram, and you are absolutely 100% correct. That will make you dial that tram in like you would not believe. But using my method, and I've got a video on how I trammed this, I got it, I was lucky. I was real fortunate. I got it dead flat on the tilt and within 1.5 thou on the nod. I really got lucky. And that's what it was. That was dumb luck. But when I got those numbers, I tightened that sucker down and I refused to touch it. So, I saw a comment up here real quick. If you don't have ATC, just number all your tools the same. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I went my first 8 years running CNC routers without, ever changing that from tool number 1. That's all of them were tool number 1. That's because at the time I was running all 100% separate tool paths. I didn't want, and I still do to a point, I didn't want to make one long piece of G code with 4 different tool paths in it. And then the software would tell you, it would finish one and then tell you to change tools. And that's still an option, but you have to number all your tools. If you don't, the software, the G code will just assume that it's all the same tool and run everything with that first tool you put in. So if you don't want to number all your tools, which is perfectly legit, and that's what I did for the first 8 years, you don't need to run, you don't need to change your tool numbers. You just make sure every tool path is a separate piece of G code. And I still do that to a point because I want to be in control of when that tool path gets run. I want to be able to run a V-carve tool path. When that finishes, go in the house, take a bio break, and then make a sandwich and talk on the phone for half an hour, then come back outside and then start the next tool path. I want to be in charge of that. And if I want to cut 3 tool paths today and the other 2 tomorrow, I want to be in charge of when that happens. So it's just personal preference. It really is. And some people, I took a teasing for a long time until I explained my logic about why don't you just download one piece of G code for the whole project, which you can do. You have to select an ATC post processor and then set up for manual tool changes on your control software. Are you talking about a merged toolpath? No, sir, not a merged toolpath. A a merged toolpath is where you have two separate toolpaths that use the same tool, and you just merge them together so it's one piece of G code. And Vectric will do that. You just have to be careful. This is kind of sort of, I'm trying to remember what it's called. It's not called a merged toolpath. It goes under a different name. But basically, like, you have your V-carve clearance toolpaths with 2 bits there. Then you have the V bit. You can, because you have different tool numbers, you can put that all into one piece of G code if your post processor is set up as a ATC, or you have edited a post processor that'll allow you to do that and do manual tool changes. So that when you're done with the first clearance bit, spindle will shut down, it'll move to a park position and tell you to insert the next tool. Then you insert that tool, touch off to set your Z0, and it proceeds to the next tool path. Finishes that, shuts off, goes to a park position, tells you to change tools, you put in the V bit, touch off on your touch plate to set Z0, and it goes and cuts that. You can do all that in one piece of G code. And yes, the tool numbers have to be unique within the G code. So I never entered tool numbers until I got the Avid EX system and started using Centroid Acorn. That requires different tool numbers for each tool. And then I have to remember what tool I assign to a tool number, because it'll come up, and this was asked earlier, it will come up and say insert tool number 5. And if I don't remember what tool number 5 is, I'm standing here scratching my head going, you know. Another advantage of having that tool database online, because now I can come here and I can go, it's telling me to insert tool number 5. Oh no. Oh, this is VCarve. That's why. I didn't do it in VCarve. No, I don't want to save my changes. I did it in Aspire, because that's what I use. Tool paths, tool database, end mill, half inch. That's tool number 5. Now it's telling me to use tool number 4. Okay. VCarve, quarter inch end mill. That's tool number 4. No, I don't have a list printed up. No, I don't have this. I just basically keep the tool database open. And I remember, okay, it's telling me to switch to tool number 6, and I know that's a V-bit. Which one? Or not tool number 6. It's telling me to change over to tool number 68. What is tool number 68? I can come over here and play around. Oh, there we go. It's a 90-degree V-bit. It's this particular Bosch 90-degree V-bit. So it's a pain, but you get used to it. What I've got a label maker, and what I need to do, and it's one of those cases of I need to do it, I just haven't done it. I need to get out here with my label maker and let it label all my tools with the tool number, so that when I pick up this particular 60-degree V-bit, I know which tool number this is, because I've got a label on it that tells me tool, whatever. I need to get out and do that. I just haven't done it yet. So, Ellen, I don't know if I just confusicated you or if I answered your questions. I don't know if this was what you were asking about. If you need more, reach out to me and we can go through it. Ellen is a channel member, and there are certain benefits to becoming a channel member. One of the benefits of becoming a channel member is, as an American, I just discovered WhatsApp. Yeah, I know. All you people in Europe are laughing. Some of you in Asia are laughing. Some of you in South America are laughing. You just discovered WhatsApp. Yeah, I just discovered WhatsApp. And I've started a WhatsApp group for Mark Lindsay CNC channel members. Very lively chat. We're having an absolute ball. If you are a channel member, reach out to me and we'll get you added to that WhatsApp group. Again, one of the benefits of becoming a channel member. Channel members. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Channel members, remember tomorrow, members only live stream. We're going to take care of that elephant in the room that everybody was wondering about. Yes, the winners of the Halloween contest will be announced tomorrow. All right. So tomorrow, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Hope to see y'all there. We'll be doing a few other little things, but most of it is going to be about the contest. You know why. Next week, not sure what I'm going to do yet. I'm in a weird position. Traditionally, this is the time of year when I put edited videos on hiatus because of the holidays. I got to get ready for the holidays. Well, I haven't done a thing since April because I'm still fighting shingles. In fact, I had another secondary outbreak on my abdomen. We'll get into it. I mean, this too shall pass. So I haven't done anything since April. Basically, what we're looking at is my next edited video will be probably after the new year. Live streams are going to continue, however. Every Sunday, I'm going to be doing a live stream here. Every Monday, there will be a members only live stream. If you don't know what I'm talking about with this membership thing, right down here below the this video panel, somewhere in here, I think it's over here somewhere, there is a join button. Just click that button. You're not joining anything. You're just getting information. Just click that button and another video is going to play. It's going to tell you about channel memberships. If you want to join, we'd love to have you. We got a great group of people. No egos amongst them. 100% respectful and 100% dedicated to helping one another. And truly some of the best people I've ever been blessed to meet. We'd love to have you join us. If you don't want to become a channel member, thank you for checking it out anyway. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for being long-term subscribers. Some of you guys, I know you've been here from the get-go, and I appreciate that. I truly do. I greatly appreciate the super chats, more than you folks will ever know. I'm going down the Rolodex in my brain, making sure that I talked about, that I got everything. I'm going to get those two videos, and no, that one video and the two bits that I demonstrated. I'll put links to them down in a pinned comment as soon as we're done. Other than that, I'll just say thank you for spending part of your Sunday with us. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Hope you had a good weekend. And y'all take care. Thank you so very much for joining me. Have a great rest of your day.